In this video, I'm going to show you how to install and set up the browser extension so that you can use Pluto Password Protect anywhere and have your passwords autofilled. So the first step is to log into your account. And once you're logged in, you'll see this screen. And over here in the settings tab, you can see downloads. Now, if you're a company manager, you might see more options than that, but it doesn't change what you need to do. You click in the settings and then downloads. Now, depending on which browser you're using, you will click a different link. I'm on Edge right now, so I'll hit download and it'll bring me here. So if I get the extension and add it, it will be added to my extension over here, just like this. Now, this setup process is almost exactly the same on whatever browser you're using. So I'll just do it for Edge. So I'll go ahead and log in. And once you've filled out the email, password, and organization key, you can unpause the video. So once you've filled out this form, you need to select a location. Now it's just Canada, and then always remember to hit the Remember Me. So then we'll log in. And once you've signed in, you can see here, you've got your vault. So these are the personal passwords that you have. You also have the company vault. And when you're over here, up here, you can see websites and credentials. So if you're on the websites, it'll show you passwords based off of whatever website you're on. This depends on the URL that you're at. If you go to the credentials, then you can see all of the passwords in the vault. You can search passwords in either section, but only passwords that have a URL attached to them will show up in the website section. Because these passwords don't have websites attached, they won't show up here. Now, once you're in here, there's a couple of things that we recommend doing to configure. So if you come down here to the settings and click settings again, the first one is application behavior. We recommend having auto capture credentials on. So that just means that when you fill out a form, whether you're logging in by memory or by creating a password, it'll ask you if you'd like to save those passwords. The next is autofill. By default, autofill is turned off. I like to have it on, but it's up to you. Autofill just means that when you are on a website that you have a credential for, it'll automatically enter that information in for you. The next is login upon selection. We tend to keep login upon selection and instant login off because they can be buggy with certain websites. And remember, application state we'd recommend to have on. The next two are mostly up to you. Open websites in new tab or existing tab. That depends on how you like to have it. That just means that when you click on a credential, it will open the website that the credential is for, either in a new tab or in the tab that you're already using. And then the default tab is website or credentials. So if most of your passwords don't have a URL connected to them, you might want it to open in credentials. The last one, and one of the most important parts of these settings, is timeout. Now, timeout is how often it's going to ask you for your password. So if you're using a computer that is in a public place or is in password protected, you might want to turn it down. Or if you are using an office computer that only you have access to that locks when you're done using it, then we recommend turning it up to 30 days. But just keep in mind that anybody who has access to this browser in those 30 days will be able to see your password. So make sure that if you are turning it up to 30 days, that the device is secure. The rest of the settings are primarily unimportant. If you have a specific use case, you might need to ignore certain URLs or block certain URLs. But for the most part, those settings aren't ones that most people will need to use. The last thing that we would want to talk about is the password generator. So if you're on a website and you're creating a password, you don't always need to remember them when you're using a password manager. So you can tell it what you need to have in it. You can set the length and you just click this little refresh button and it'll give you a password. You could click here to copy it to your clipboard and you can paste it in and easily create secure passwords that you don't need to worry about remembering because your password manager will do it for you. When you're in here and you're looking at credentials, these icons here, this will copy the username to your clipboard and the key will copy the password to your clipboard. If you need to see the password in more depth, you can just click on it and you can see the username, password, description, and the URL and notes if those are important. Sometimes you might have an access code or something like that needs to be put in the notes. And you can also edit it from here so you can see what the password is and you can generate a new password if needed. Now you know most of what's inside this widget. So when you're using it If you are on a website that has a credential that can be used, it will show up here and you're either in the My Vault or Company Vault, and the key will turn orange when you're on a website that has a credential attached to it. The last thing is that if you're using the extension, it's really easy to get to the Passportal website. So if you hit launch Passportal, it'll bring you to the Passportal website. This is where we recommend doing any kind of big tasks. If you're just editing one credential, you can do that within the extension, but the extension is a lot less friendly for navigation. So we'd recommend opening it here if you need to do more than a couple of edits. And if you need to move things around, it's much easier to do in the full Passportal. So again, to access that, you just click on this little cog down here, the little settings icon, and you can launch Passportal from there and it'll open up the full-sized one.